Hello and welcome. I'm Kriti Mehta and you're watching the world of sports on NewsX World. Let's take a look at some of the top sports stories of the week. Spanish sensation Carlos Alcaraz defeated the veteran Novak Djokovic in 4 sets in a pulsating final, claiming his first Australian Open title and shattering an 88-year-old record to become the youngest to win a career Grand Slam. Liverpool seem to have successfully pulled off the first big-name hijack on this deadline day, with a French prodigy Jeremy Jacquet now headed to Anfield instead of Chelsea's Stamford Bridge. LeBron James has been selected for a record-extending 22nd consecutive NBA All-Star game. The LA Lakers star has been named among the reserves from the Western Conference. England's Justin Rose clinched an utterly dominant win at the Farmers Insurance Open in a new tournament record score. The 2019 winner signed for a 2-under par 70 to claim his 13th PGA Tour title. Winter Olympics organizers have admitted the new ice hockey arena in Milan will not be finished in time for the first match of the Games, but are absolutely certain all scheduled fixtures will be played there. And now for a special feature of this week. Today on the show we have a trailblazer, a pioneer and quite possibly the coolest skier you've ever heard of. From the sun-soaked streets of Dakar in Senegal to the icy slopes of the Winter Olympics, Lamine Gueye has defied expectations and redefined what it means to chase dreams. He's faced drought, blizzards and the world's most intimidating ski courses, and today he joins us to talk about his journey, his new documentary and what it takes to represent Africa on the global winter sports stage. Lamine Gueye, he's the president of the Senegalese Ski Federation, and thanks for joining us here at NewsX World's World of Sport.
Thank you to you, my pleasure.
All right, now you grew up in Senegal, far from snow and winter infrastructure. What specific obstacles did you really face when you were entering professional skiing, and how did you overcome them at each stage of your career?
Well, keep in mind that at the beginning it was just a dream in the head of a teenager. So before even thinking about competing, I had to create the federation, because you can imagine that at the time there was no Senegal Ski Federation at all. So the first big task was to create the Senegal Ski Federation, like, you know, those kinds of paper you don't like to do now, but you didn't like to do it when you're 17 or 18 years old. So once this was done, I had definitely to find a way to get help, to get sponsors, to get advice on how to become a professional, let's say, a ski racer. So once my federation was active, I asked help from the French Ski Federation and from the Italian Ski Federation. And slowly, they helped me to, let's say, to go through the first steps. Parallel to that, I had to find like sponsors, ski material, money, anything, because when you start a dream like this, nothing is evident. And after, let's say, struggling for a few months or years, then I had finally the chance to be for the first time on the slopes and to enjoy my dream.
All right, interesting. Now, when you first competed at the Olympics, what was the biggest reality check that you really faced on and off the slopes compared with athletes from traditional winter sports nations?
Well, my first Olympics was Sarajevo. So, you know, we all remember our first times, whatever it is. And my first time in the Olympic in Sarajevo was very special. It was special because I arrived here like very young. I was 24 years old. And then my head was full of dreams, Olympic dreams, the fact that you can be with many people from all around the world doing the same thing. but I had to face reality. And reality was I was a one-man team, meaning I had to be present on the slopes for the race or for the training. I had to prepare my skis. I had to go for the captain's meeting. I had to go for the interview. I had to go for the official things regarding the Olympics issues. I remember once when I arrived in Sarajevo, I even had to go and to make sure that they had the national anthem from Senegal. And I told them, what's the national anthem for? And they answered me, it's in case you win. I said, okay, I recognize the anthem, but the chance for me to win very small.
Yeah, okay. Now looking back at your Olympic appearances, how did your mindset and preparation have evolved, and which Olympics really tested you the most, both as an athlete and as an individual?
Well, as I told you, the first one was Sarajevo, so my head was full of dream. Let's say I was expecting a kind of an Olympic dream. That was partially here, but not there, because then you face reality, like no money for training from the International Olympic Committee and those things. The second one was Albertville, 1992, a very, very, very challenging slope. Only a few racers were starting with the downhill, only the professional were there and me. So it was very challenging from the physical point of view and technical point of view. And the third games, it was in Lillehammer, and it was after the new rules for the small nations. So I would say that I attempted these games with a different mindset, keeping in mind that it was not going to be easy anymore for the small nations to compete in Olympic Winter Games.
Now, I mean, now your new documentary revisits moments of struggle, criticism, and resilience. Was there any part of your story you hesitated to put on screen, and if yes, what was that? Why was that?
Well, we started to shoot last week in Sarajevo, and I discovered a fantastic crew, and I told them exactly what was happening in my life and in my story. So they are trying to pull out the, let's say, spirit behind the race. And the spirit was, you can come from another country that is not supposed to be a country with snow and do other things. Let's say I was trying to give this message that it doesn't matter where you come from. What's important is your desire to go through, and your determination, I think.
Right, and winter sports, they remain marginal across most of Africa. What concrete changes are really needed, in your opinion, in funding, in training access, and governance, really, to make African participation more sustainable rather than symbolic?
Well, we have to obey to different organizations that rule the sport. This organization is International Olympic Committee and International Ski Federation. I think it's good to have to remember what we're coming from. In 1984, every nation had 4 places at the Olympics, 4 places at the World Championship, and 2 places in the World Cup. Today, you need to go through qualifications, to go to Olympics, to go to World Championship, and to go through to World Cup. So it's getting harder and harder and harder for us. But the world is opening more and more. You have people from Africa, from other countries, traveling all around the world. I've been looking. There is people from India going to race at the Olympic in Milano Cortina. So the world is changing, and I think, especially in the world of chaos today, in my opinion, the Olympic Committee should say, listen, we are all here for the celebration of humanity. And that celebration means everybody is welcome. You cannot today, when you switch on your TV or your radio, or you're a news broadcaster, so you see the world, how it's going on, and it's getting a bit crazy. So more than ever today, I think Olympic Committee should work so much on inviting everybody to celebrate humanity.
Right, that's a great message. Now, with the Milan Cortina 2026 games approaching, what are your realistic expectations for yourself and for African representation? And what would success really look like to you at this point in time in your life?
Well, I don't think there will be many racers from African continent. There will be some, and from non-skiing continent, there will be some. But you know, Olympic Winter Games, you prepare that like years and years and years in advance. I hope these games are going to be fantastic and full of sport, and I hope that the spirit will be there. What is really important for me, I would like to hear, if I had, let's say, a dream, I'd like to see at the end of the games, at the end of the Olympic Games, you have the closing ceremony and they say, okay, we give you appointment in 4 years for the next games. And the games in 4 years will be in France in 2030. And France is also the country of the Déclaration des droits de l'homme that says that every man was born equals and will remain equals, at least as regarding the laws and the rights. So maybe it will be an interesting task for the International Olympic Committee to go back to the former formula, meaning everybody is invited, even if we are not top 500 in the world, or if we are not like a big nations or big continent ready to spend money. More than ever today, we need that kind of brotherhood in sport.
Indeed. Well, I hope your message is taken. But Lamin Guy, it's a pleasure to have you here at World of Sports on NewsX World. Thanks for speaking.
Thank you to you.
And we now move on to the Champions League. The draw for the play-off round of the UEFA Champions League knockout phase was held in Nyon on a Friday, setting up 8 high-profile ties. The draw pairs clubs based on their performance in the league stage, forming 4-seeded match-ups to determine who advances. Highlight of fixtures include Monaco taking on PSG in a clash of French giants and Benfica drawing against Real Madrid, promising a high-octane encounter. Newcastle will face Karabakh while Inter Milan meet Norwegian side Bodo Glimt. Other ties feature Galatasaray against the Juventus, Borussia Dortmund drawn with Atlanta Club, Brugge taking on Atletico de Madrid, and Olympiacos facing Bayer Leverkusen. Now, the first leg of each tie will be played on February 17 and 18, with the second leg to follow a week later on February 24 and 25. The playoff round will determine the final teams that progress to the round of 16, making these fixtures crucial for clubs hoping to claim Europe's most prestigious trophy. Fans can expect dramatic moments, high-scoring games, and potentially surprising upsets as the knockout stage kicks off. And I'm now joined in by Swastik Debnath, who's a football writer and journalist from Kolkata.
Hi, Kirti. How are you?
Hi, Swastik. Thanks very much for joining us. What is your pick of the draw, and which games are you looking forward to the most?
My standout tie will be Real Madrid versus Benfica, obviously, because in the last match, Real Madrid faced a defeat against Benfica in the Lisbon, and it will be the revenge game for the Madrid actually. So also Monaco versus PSG will be a good game because all French tie will be happening there, and also Bodo Glimt versus Dortmund will be a good game too.
Okay. Swastik, now 15-time champions Real Madrid have been drawn against the Portuguese giants Benfica, who they lost to in the final league game, final stage. What could Madrid really learn from their high-octane defeat away to Benfica, and how will this impact the game?
Okay, so Real Madrid were beaten 4-2 by Benfica at the Estadio da Luz in the last league phase match. So from that match, as per my realization, they have to be more compact in transitions, like especially with Mbappe and Vinicius pushing high. Certain safeties and discipline will be needed more, and emotional aid.
All right, viewers, we've lost that connection with Debnath there, but it was good speaking to him, and we're now going to move on. Now to some transfer action. With deadline day of the January window in full swing, a flurry of activity has already taken place. Let's go through the top news from the transfer front. Crystal Palace striker Jean-Philippe Mateta could be heading for the exit, with AC Milan agreeing a deal worth around 30 million euros, subject to a rigorous medical. Now, Mateta was key to Palace's success last season, but has made it clear he is seeking a new challenge. Elsewhere, Chelsea defender Axel Disasi is closing in on a loan move to West Ham as the Hammers look to strengthen their defence in a relegation battle. Disasi is expected to complete a medical and finalise terms soon. Liverpool, meanwhile, are set to beat Chelsea to the signing of Rennes defender Jeremy Jacket, with a clearer path to the first team at Anfield is seen as a key factor in the decision. Meanwhile, Tottenham have made a late offer for Barcelona centre-back Ronald Araujo as they push to strengthen their dominance and their defence before the transfer deadline. Spurs boss Thomas Frank said the club would be active on deadline day after coming from 2 goals down to draw with Manchester City. Also in space, Real Madrid attacker Brahim Diaz is attracting interest from Tottenham, Newcastle, Aston Villa and Italian side Como following a late change in his availability. The Moroccan international is said to be weighing his options amid stiff competition for minutes at the Bernabeu. Sources suggest Diaz has been advised to opt for a Premier League move where he could play more regularly in his preferred attacking role. And we now move on to some tennis news. Now, Carlos Alcaraz claimed his first Australian Open title on Sunday, defeating Novak Djokovic 2-6, 6-2, 6-3, 7-5 at Rod Laver Arena. The 22-year-old Spaniard denied Djokovic an unprecedented 25th Grand Slam and became the youngest man in history to win all 4 major titles, breaking Don Budger's 88-year-old record. After an edgy start, Alcaraz recovered to dominate the second and third sets, sealing the match with a decisive break in the fourth. Celebrating with his team and front row legend Rafa Nadal, he praised the support and hard work that took him to this milestone. Now, Djokovic congratulated Alcaraz at the net, sharing a hug and respectful pat as the tennis world witnessed a new era in men's tennis. With this victory, in fact, Alcaraz remains world #1 in the ATP rankings, extending his lead over the rest of the tour. Behind him, Italy's Jannik Sinner holds the second spot, followed by a resurgent Novak Djokovic at #3, while Lorenzo Musetti has broken into the top 5 for the first time, joining the elite ranks outside and alongside other stars in the men's game. Listen in to what the champion had to say about his win.
A dream come true, to be honest. It was something that I was working really hard for to get this trophy, to get the career Grand Slam. So, yeah, before the last point, I was, you know, a lot of things, you know, came to my mind, to be honest. So I was really nervous. I was shaking almost. So once I saw the ball going out, it was like, all right, I made it. So it was a great feeling. Yeah, it's great. It's great to know that yeah, you're the youngest. Your name is gonna be in the book records. So it's yeah, it's a great feeling to be the youngest, but I think for me even more to, you know, to put my name next to the legends that have been able to complete the career Grand Slam.
And on to some cricket news now. India have sealed their place in the semi-finals of the ICC Under-19 World Cup 2026 with a 58-run victory over rival Pakistan at Queen's Sport Club in Bulawayo. India topped the Super Sixes group after a strong total of 252 built on a smart 50 from Vedant Trivedi and finishing contributions from Kanishk Chauhan and Kilani Patel. Pakistan, who needed to chase the target with 33.3 overs to qualify, struggled from the start. Key wickets from Henil Patel and Ayush Mahatre slowed their chase, and a collapse after Usman Khan's dismissal left them 194 all out. India's bowling and collective performance ensured a comprehensive win, and Pakistan's elimination confirming India as the favourite for the semi-finals. And viewers, that's a wrap on this week's edition of the World of Sports. Stay tuned to NewsX World for all international news and updates.